Call this meeting to order. Determine there is a quorum present. Commissioner Wardlaw. And Commissioner Wardlaw, so glad to see you here. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Thank you, Judge, and I want to thank everybody for all the prayers and good words that got me through that. I appreciate that more than anything.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Wardlaw's here, Commissioner Vasquez, Commissioner Nettleton, Commissioner Flores. If y'all will please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Commissioner Flores, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank y'all. If y'all don't mind, I'd like to have a moment of silence. It is 9/11 to honor those that lost their lives. Thank y'all. Approving, item 5, approving minutes from previous week. And motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Citizens' comments, no special order. Mr. Dissler, you're up first, sir.
Good morning. Thank you. My name is Randall Dissler. I reside in the county outside the city limits, and I own land inside the city limits in the Lower States. I want to make it clear before I start that I do not represent the Landowners Association of the Lower States or any other person. I'm speaking strictly on my own part. I have a letter here that I've written. I don't believe I can go through it in the time constraints that are given for these comments. I gave a copy of this letter to Councilman DeRoos last night. It's addressed to the Mayor and City Council of Del Rio, the San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated Independent School District, the School Board, and Valverde County Judge and Commissioners. Basically, it's about the issues that have been going on in the Lower State for almost 40 years. It's nothing new, and it's been festering, and it's getting worse. Anyhow, what I'd like to do, and I don't know if it's possible or not, I'd like to deliver a copy of this letter. I think there's enough copies in there for everyone. And if you want a copy.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dissler. Miss Suzanne West. She wrote in orange.
I had a Sharpie handy. Thank you very much for having me. I'm Suzanne West. I'm the district attorney. It was not my idea to come here. I wanted to make sure I got all of the commissioners together. I know a couple of you are getting ready to leave the court. And a very helpful person said you'll find them all at Commissioner's Court. That's the place to come to them. So what I'm here for is good news. I want to publicly and unequivocally thank you as a group for all the support that you have given to our office throughout the past 4 years. When I took office 4 years ago, we had 8 people and a lot of files. And now we have almost 24 people. We have an 8,000 square foot building. Your IT department built out 20 offices, multiple mobile centers. Your purchasing department has purchased vehicles, furniture, equipment, computers. I cannot say enough how much your team and your staff have supported us, and you all particularly. I would love for you to come see the building. I know you guys haven't seen it yet, but it is an impressive building, and I know that you took on the burden of every employee that fills that building and the upkeep of the building, and basically making sure we can do all of the things that we do. And you have added people to our staff to expand our capacity, and everything that you have done in support of our office is absolutely a service to the community, and I personally appreciate you. My staff appreciates you. I doubt you'll hear that a whole lot in your budget discussions today. You guys don't get elected to be thanked, and I know that feeling, right? But there are those of us that know what you do is difficult, and that you make decisions that what you think is right. And thank you. I cannot say it more specifically. Thank you sincerely for how you've allowed us to expand. You've supported our expansion. You've given us the resources that we need to get there. So I would like to give you these certificates of appreciation.
Can we get a picture?
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to come around? Come on around. Oh, why don't you come around?
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Hi, Miss Susan. How are you? Nice to see you.
Good, thank you.
Happy honor, get to you. You stand right there. There we go.
Put your hand on the certificate also. Yeah.
Take a bunch of it.
Very nice, thank you.
All right, thank you, good man.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
And, all right, with that, I think we're just gonna quit. We're gonna go. Just leave. Mr. Wardlaw, sir?
Good morning, I'm Kurt Wardlaw. Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I am here to talk about the Appraisal District budget. I am the chairman on the Appraisal District, and the Chief Appraiser, Deputy Chief Appraiser, have been working really hard on this budget. I believe you got emails that showed two options, because there's talk about us not giving our appraisers raises. And one option shows a regular COLA raise, and some of these appraisers show that they'd be getting a bigger raise. It's because they promoted up in getting certified. So just like in law enforcement, you get another stripe on your sleeve, you go up, you step up, plus the COLA raise. So that's what those differences are in there on the pay. The other option showed a stipend going out to all employees. So in talking to the Chief Appraiser, I found out that this $2,500 stipend would go across all the employees, and there's 12 clerks that would be getting a bigger amount of money by the $2,500, while 8 appraisers would be getting less money than they would get with the COLA. So 25 is less, 2,500 is less. And it doesn't go into the retirement if it's the stipend, which is what I understand the school district is going to do. And these people are, the training alone is worth getting them their raise, keep paying them what they're worth to keep them here. And about 10 years ago, 7 employees walked out of the appraisal district fully trained. That's $350,000 in training walking out the door. To utilize the tax dollars of the taxpayers the furthest is to keep the trained individuals working here. There's no such thing as a school to go to an appraisal, to get trained to work at an appraisal office. All the schools are basically your appraisal offices, your counties, 254. So 253 other appraisal districts are after our employees right now. They want them to transfer to go work for them. And so not keeping up to par with the state pay rate across the board is leaving us vulnerable. to lose these trained employees. Each one, minimum $50,000 in training goes into each one of these. Another thing is that there's software companies that work on software for appraisal districts. So a fully vested appraiser making $49,000 can walk out of our office and go get $63,000 in pay for a software company that works on this in this field. And I can't stress enough how important it is just to take care of our people. That's what y'all did last week, talking about the county employees getting raises. And it's important that that happened, I think, with the appraisal district. Those are not your county employees, but they are working through tax dollars from Val Verde County. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Under judge's comments, we have an item on here.
Judge,
That, how come you're, okay. Mr. Martinez, I want to thank you for reminding me. Why do you keep telling me this? At 9:10, we have a tax rate hearing scheduled. Anybody that would like to come up and speak for or against the tax rate, which is .4977, please come forward now, for or against it. Anybody? Yeah. We're doing something else over here, but y'all have an opportunity to come on the tax rate.
Well, not exactly, but every salary.
Can we get a copy?
Sure.
Can we get a copy? On the tax rate? Walking around. There's no comments on the tax rate. I'm gonna, it is 9:11. I'm going to close the hearing on the tax rate. And again, Mr. Martinez, thank you. We're gonna go back. I couldn't figure out what it was. I'm sorry. We're gonna go back, to citizens' comments. Mr. Scarborough?
Judge, Commissioner, thank you all. I just want to extend a gratitude to all of you for always being there for IGNC. Last year, you all were there for us with hot tax funds, and of course, we're on the agenda today for hot tax funds again. But I just want to, once again, dearly thank you all for those funds. It does help during the Fiesta de Amistad activities. It is something that the city gives us, and now it's something that the county has given us, and we're really appreciative of it. We also want to extend a gratitude towards Commissioner Vasquez, who is going to be our Grand Marshal this year for the Fiesta de Amistad Parade. So
Awesome.
Thank you, sir. We're very excited about that.
Congratulations.
No problem.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we have a little bit of time before we have to go into the next one. Item 18, discussion possible, if y'all don't mind, we'll move to item 18. Discussion possible action to approve hot funds for the IGNC, International Good Neighbor Council, Fiesta de Amistad. Last year, we ended up giving them $10,000. They did submit the proper paperwork in order to receive it.
Motion to approve 10,000.
I'll second that for discussion.
Okay. I have a motion, Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores. Yes, sir.
How much is the city giving you guys?
So the city gives us the same 10,000.
And, who else helps you out for those activities on the stop?
Funding
The county, the
wise,
city,
what's that, sir?
does the county, the city help you?
Just the county and the city for hot tax funds, correct?
Yeah.
Any other comments, concerns? I have a motion, Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries. 5-0. Approving, item 7,
Thank you.
approving monthly report from elected officials. Motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 8, approving bills for payment.
Motion to approve is presented.
Motion Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against?
That was yours, it wasn't me.
Oh. You're so used.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing back here. Okay. I saw that one and I understand what that means now. Approving bills for payment, it was a motion was Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Vasquez. We did take a vote. Everybody in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. It is 9:15, so we'll go into a budget hearing. We do have a budget workshop scheduled here in a little bit, but this is a budget hearing. Citizens, if y'all want to comment on this, budget hearing is now open. I guess, yeah. That's okay. Okay. So is this what you gave me? I think it's on the second page. That'll go on the item on the payroll history. That way we're not here and they can't hear me or something. Thank you. Ms. Fuentes, do you have a question?
Sure, just for clarification, you opened it up for citizens' comments on the budget hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm assuming, I don't know, please educate me, for department heads are going to submit?
They've already submitted.
Okay, so you're going to decide one way or the other?
What we do is, we start the process somewhere in February, March with the budget. We start looking at, pay scales, pay raises, everything else. And then we ask for them, in May, they start submitting their budgets. Each department submits a budget. At that point, we go through every budget. I go through every budget and look at them to see what is it that they're requesting, compare it to what they have, already in the budget in the fiscal year that we're in. And then, try to visit with the department heads to figure out what we're going to be able to do and not do.
Okay, so therefore, citizens, we're privy to that information as to
You're
what they
privy-
submitted on your website, or how we're supposed to see
The
it?
information that you have, that we have from them, if you request it, we can get it for you.
Okay, so but right now, for
It's not,
example, I'm just
what is
using
going to
myself.
be on our website and what we filed is what you can actually go get your hands on right now.
Okay,
The
so
packet-
therefore, if Ms. Pat Cole submits a budget request of $1 million, and I don't agree with that, and how do I know how much she submitted, how much, I don't know
Well, and at
what,
the end of the day, let's be realistic, no matter what they submit, and I'm not trying to throw rocks at department heads, but no matter what they submitted, if it's not in the budget, that's what really counts is what's in the budget.
okay.
Okay, so if you want what they submitted, yes, ma'am, we can get it for you.
Okay, so
But at
I'm
the end of the
kind
day, you know, the discussions that we have between the time that they submitted and the budget is what counts.
Okay, yeah, right. So I was just trying to say, I don't know, I as a citizen would be able to
If
say,
you ask
hey,
me-
that's a good idea, that's not a bad idea, or give more money, don't give more money, because I'm not privy to that. I understand what you're saying. Okay, that's it. Thank you for the clarification.
And again, I'm not trying to be mean, but at the end of the day, it really, you know, everybody requests stuff, but at the end of the day, what's in the budget is what counts,
Okay.
or doesn't count, either way. Anybody else on the budget hearing? No? Oh. Then, it is 9:19. I'm going to close the budget hearing. We all good so far? We'll move on to item 9, discussion possible action to approve the auditor's report.
Move.
Second. Motion Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 10, discussion possible action on the following budget adjustments. A, other, autopsy mental health, $20,000. Would come out of,
Prisoner cost.
Hmm?
Prisoner cost.
Motion to approve our prisoner cost.
second. Motion of Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item B, again, other, attorneys other, $25,000. And we will have probably another bill, in the next meeting and probably one thereafter, even in the next fiscal year.
Where do we get the money the last meeting?
This has been coming out of, prisoner costs, Commissioner. And all three of these, A, B, and C, can afford to, be unallocated and then reappropriated over to prisoner costs.
Motion to approve our prisoner cost.
Second. Motion Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. Anybody, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. C, building maintenance, utilities.
Did our utilities go up that much this year?
Yes.
I know electricity cost has gone up.
Well, we did, and then we had a couple of really high water bills that didn't help. One of them was for $16,000. There was a water line that broke. We thought it was, that they'd turn on the sprinkler system, which they had, but we had a 2-inch main that washed a big hole next to Alcoa, right outside Alcoa.
Motion to approve our prisoner cost.
Second. Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 11, discussion possible action on certification of revenue. A, Gov Deals, $3,504.27. B, Fire Department, $10.13. C, Precinct 4, $3,494.14. Motion to approve, Commissioner Vasquez.
Now, if I may, Judge.
I'll second that.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Where's this money gonna be moved to?
Great question. That's where we're going to, and it's actually A equals, B plus C, so that there's.
Yeah, I'll take
Okay.
it all, I mean, precinct 4, but I'll take the $10 to the fire department.
Okay.
Yeah.
What we
So-
got here, we do have a budget workshop after this, and I don't know how we're gonna handle capital, if capital's gonna roll, if it is not gonna roll, or if it's gonna roll.
Well,
It
it's
may
gonna
be
have
best.
to.
Right, it may
It's
be
not gonna
best.
And we can have that conversation when we get there.
Okay,
But at the end of the day, though, what we've done in the past, anything that they've sold, any department that they've sold something, it's been the building maintenance, and the 4 precincts. That money is put in their fund, and and the auction money is always rolled over. We actually have a court order for that. You're saying capital, and if that's where you put it, then and we'll have that discussion in a minute. But with these funds right here, fire department needs to go in fire department, precinct 4 needs to go in precinct 4. Can you make that part of your motion?
I'll make that part of my motion.
Have, Commissioner Vasquez and then second
Gov Deals
Commissioner.
goes where?
Sir?
Oh, that's total.
Yes, sir. Are we okay with that?
Yes.
And then we can have that discussion in a minute. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 12, we actually had a couple of them, in the packet. Megan? Okay. Discussion possible action to approve treasurer's report. There was a couple of months in there.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 13, no need because we did the one on the addendum. Do y'all want to do the budget workshop right now? Y'all want to go through the rest of the budget?
Let's go through the rest of
The rest of the agenda, I'm sorry.
the agenda here.
Y'all okay with that? Okay. We're going to skip to item 17, discussion possible action on an update on ARPA funds. Matt, you gave us a sheet a little while ago that shows $1,700,000, the first line, $1,761,063 that is in ARPA, but is already allocated. And then we have a
we have in the new budget, because we had 500, I'm sorry, I'll wait for you to get it.
The only thing I see there, Judge, is, the public health. Everything else is, I mean, precincts or parks or
There's,
elevator or stuff like that.
there is also, Commissioner, there's some money that's not being shown right here, that interest, and you correct me if I'm wrong. There's some money in there that we collected as interest. When we did the new budget, there was money in there for interest, and the court, I'm gonna say 2 meetings, if not 3 meetings back, said to use 300, where the money for Escondido comes in, I'm pointing back there. In the new budget, there's $355,000 for Escondido, for Commissioner Wardlaw for y'all's project, in the new budget, and that money comes out of interest.
Correct.
Okay. So if you look at that, there's probably 140 some odd thousand.
That is correct. And of course, future interest, as the interest rate's going to come down next week, along with, since we're on the short end of term of the yield curve, along with the balance is starting to shrink. It's not going to be much. Now, we do have one employee that is currently coming out of there as legal out of ARPA to fund that. So whether you take this money and go do a purpose, then that employee falls on the general fund, or you leave that employee in ARPA, and then you go to general fund to get whatever your needs are.
But at the end of the day, the rest of the interest, or whatever, or what was balanced, it's going to be used, unless the court decides otherwise, to pay the individual in your office for doing this.
Correct.
Right? So at the end of the day, until we get closer to say in a couple of months, to figure out what's going to be left, either out of the elevator or even if there might be money out of Escondido, those are funds that at the end of the day could be put together and then repurposed.
That's correct. On our timeline, it was going to be, we're going to concentrate on budget, just get budget finished up, and then we had until December 31st to really square this up and hammer ARPA out. And that was going to be our goal. It appears that's still our goal. So,
and I guess where I'm getting at it is if there's going to be money that is not going to be used, which we'll know, we'll have a better idea. I know, Melissa, you were trying to get a quote for the elevator. And he has not, he's not responded. So we'll be able to come up to the court, and we'll keep giving updates to bring to the court. That way, if there is funds that are not going to be used, the court can figure out what to do with the money. But as of right now, with the money that we had in it, that we've made off interest, and the money, the 1.7 that's there, it's all pretty much used. He did say, public health.
47,000.
And then on that one right there, we need to get a definition of what we can do with it or repurpose it. I can tell you that during the budget, when we get into the budget, radios, we had 30 or 40,000 budgeted for the radios. Evidently, the quote that I got for the radios ain't the right radio that we need for the fire department, because we need something that's more water resistant other than what the sheriff has. So that might be a place to pull it versus out of the general fund. That'll be something the court will have to decide.
in the past, public health, we were putting the salaries. Now, we don't need to, since we were below the standard, the 10 million, we don't need to get too worked up on the categories. Originally, when this was set up, it was set up on the categories. It was eligible. The rules have evolved over the last 2.5 years. I think we've started defining word 7 different times on obligation. The reporting requirements have changed, so we don't need to get too focused on that word public health, but that was where the salaries was coming from.
And the public health, we were planning, Dr. Palau?
Yeah.
Which in this budget, she's not there.
She's no longer there.
Judge, if I may, Matt, could you keep us updated on the month of October
and bring us solid numbers on ARPA. I hate for us to lose any money, not use it, till we have a deadline, December. That way we can figure out what we're gonna do with that money,
Yes, Commissioner, we can do that.
please.
And, we can put an item from here on out every meeting. That way in case something changes, something drastic
Yeah.
changes, we can actually talk about it.
When are we going out for bids for the pumps for Escondido?
Yeah, which one?
The bids for the pumps for Escondido?
What we're working on right now is, there's emails going back and forth, we've sent them the plans. Answer your question, I don't know, okay? But I can tell you where we're at. Where we're at is that, they've gone back and forth with the electrical engineer. We have sent them the plans on the building and on the pumps and everything else, and they are working on them. The guy wanted it in a different file, than what we had sent him. That was the last email that I had, and Carlos had already sent it to him with that.
No estimates on that, Judge?
No, sir. No, sir. I can tell you, let's just, because we just had this conversation with Matt. Because it's the interest money, not out of ARPA money, if worst case scenario, it's the backup plan. I use his words, it's a backup plan to the backup plan to the backup plan.
There we go. All right.
Worst case scenario, we can't get a contract before the end of our calendar year, not our fiscal year. Then we can move that money into the general fund in order to be able to facilitate the expenditure, because it is interest money, but that's like the third backup plan.
I just want to make sure the $500,000 stays there just in case the bids come in over the $50,000.
Okay.
Judge, are there any estimates on the precinct 1 warehouse?
On the precinct 1 warehouse, I know that tomorrow, or no, Friday, on Friday, bids, it will be advertised and there will be bid packages go out. So we can formally accept bids and go out for bids for the building. And then what is also being planned for that is, and we were gonna stay after the meeting, but we can have a conversation now, is that on Friday, the bid package goes out for the building and materials. And then next Friday, no pressure, next Friday, another bid package goes out for labor for the building and for the concrete. So we should have bid packages out, a week from this Friday. All the bid packages should be out, and hopefully to bring back to the court, not the next meeting, but the meeting thereafter.
Thank you, Judge. I appreciate you working on that.
That, again, no pressure. I didn't know if y'all knew that.
Every week.
Yeah. Are we good with the ARPA? Yes, sir. Okay. And if we'll just put an item, just leave it on there. Item 18, we've already done. Item 19, discussion possible action on hiring a county veterans officer and set salary. We've all interviewed. I put it on the agenda. I didn't know what, for one, what the recommendation of the court was gonna be.
Can we table it and bring it back after executive session?
We can.
Make a motion to table, Judge.
I have a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second.
Second.
Commissioner Flores. Are you sure, Commissioner? Because I don't want you to get mad. I'm giving you the seconds.
No, you keep calling me.
Commissioner,
Second, you call somebody up.
I have a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries. Item 20, discussion possible action approval of appraisal district budget. I wanted to bring this to y'all. They will not, Jackie, I'll correct if I'm wrong. They won't approve their budget till the 12th, so we really do not have a budget to approve or disapprove. But I wanted to get, two options were sent to us, and I wanted y'all to take a look at them. They're here if we have any questions for them with either one of the options, or we can just move, we can move on. There was a paper I asked Jackie to, and I didn't bring it. I'll make sure that y'all have it before y'all leave. But I asked her to, I told her to simplify it and give me a list of all the employees and put what they're making, what each one of them is making now, and what the anticipated increase would be in that salary. The second page of what you've been handed is something, that she put together. It's not what she gave me, but the dollar amounts are the same. It's not in the same format, but, the dollar amounts are the same. We had conversations, 10, 11, 12% raise. There's one that's getting, I think, 11 point something, percent raise. But, when Kerr was talking, he told us why that one's getting it. Basically, it was a step. The rest of them are pretty much in line with what we have. I know that in the past, we have voted, I think a couple of times not to accept our budget, but the other entities voted for it, so our vote really did not count, or didn't matter. At that time, we were concerned about the wages also, the increases. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Judge, I was gonna ask you if it was possible that they put names next to the job positions or titles. I mean, maybe clerk 3.
Did you do that on
clerk
ours?
2, clerk 1?
If, yeah, please, yeah. And this is a good time, because at the end of the day, we do not have the budget that you've accepted, so it'd be real difficult to vote for or against.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And that's the reason why I hadn't signed up for public comments or had expected to come up and speak at the podium unless a question was asked. There is a title to each position. And so if you look at the second page of what the judge handed out, there's a title to each position.
I mean, name, a name,
Oh, a name.
person.
Yes, sir. We
Please.
can include the name from
Please.
now on. Yes, sir. That's not a problem.
Question, why did you reduce the salary by 31,000 on the appraiser one?
I had an appraiser retire. I had an appraiser retire for 42 years
So
of
you're going back
experience.
to base pay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And
I would be
created
going,
another position?
Yeah.
yes. Yes, sir, that's correct. And so that would be an appraiser 1 base pay. And then we have, our appraisers go through a 5-year process to get certified. They start at base pay on level 1, and each time that they obtain a certification, they go up in certification pay. So we do have 3 appraisers that are undergoing their certification. It's appraiser, you'll see appraiser 4 with an 11.49% increase. That includes the 2% COLA. There's a step that's included in our pay scale. And that step is to prevent salary compression. And then we have 2 appraiser 3s that are going from level 2 to level 3.
Okay.
So they'll soon be certified, but they have another 2 years before they fully get certified.
In the past, have you lost any appraisers to other districts?
Yes, sir, yes. And
That needs to be discussed.
yes, sir. And I plan on discussing that when the budget gets approved tomorrow. I'll be doing a presentation at the entities, and I'll discuss that as well. Mr. Wardlaw brought that up. He's the chairman of our board of directors.
What's Mr. Wardlaw?
First.
Oh, that one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we did lose 7 employees, 7 certified RPA appraisers in a 2-year
How can you
timeframe.
stand that?
It was very difficult. But it's when we approached the board of directors at that time and we said, there's something that has to be done, we have to put a pay scale in place. It costs just under $50,000 to get each appraiser certified from point A to point B. So it's a 5-year process, and what you want to do is retain them after certification. And I know that just like it was brought up, the police department, sheriff's department, once you start getting the person trained and you get them through the certification process, you pay for that training, and then you may stand to lose the employee because they're going elsewhere for more pay. Now, those 7 employees that we lost in that 2-year time span, not all of them were because of salary, but there were probably about half that were going to other counties with their certification that we paid for more pay. So that's part of the reason why we have the pay scale in place. I plan on doing a presentation at the meeting once it's adopted, and if you put it on your agenda, then I plan on doing a presentation at that time. I hadn't signed up for public comments. I have had conversations with the judge Friday and I think Monday as well. And so tried to explain it to the other entities. I know I've made phone calls to city council, school board members, I've spoken to the superintendent, and so I've spoken to Comstock superintendent as well. And I'm making phone calls just to make sure that everybody understands there's a reason why a handful of employees on our budget are getting more than the others, and that's the reason for it. It's because of the certification
Can you
pay.
do us a favor?
Yes, sir.
Send us the pay scales for the surrounding counties and stuff. So we know what they're
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Yes, I will do that. I'll send over a copy of our pay scale, and then I just did a salary comparison, and I did that with Tier 2 appraisal districts. Now, in that tier, you're going to have appraisal districts that have, for example, San Angelo is on there. San Angelo is a bigger community. They have, more people in population. But we're all expected to perform under the same standards. And so they're used as part of the comparison, and I'll send that over.
Sure, thank you.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Yes, sir.
You'll be on the agenda in 2 weeks.
Okay, perfect. Yes, sir. I'll keep an eye out on that. And we do have a public hearing tomorrow. If any of y'all would like to attend, it's at 11:45. And then the adoption will be at 12, soon thereafter.
Well, just, again, if you don't mind, plan on showing up in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you,
Yes.
ma'am.
Thank you.
We'll move on to item 21, discussion possible action, Mayor Biden, Warren Museum.
Second.
Got a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 22, discussion possible action to permit the
Motion to
wine
approve.
Second.
and motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 23, discussion possible action to proclaim the month of September as the Hunger Action Month.
Motion.
Is she gonna read it? Is she here? Or is he here? You wanna give it to us so we can read it? Or are you gonna read it?
Hello. My name is Andrew Garza. I'm from the South Texas Food Bank, which is located in Laredo. First, I want to thank you, Judge Owens and Commissioner Vasquez, to put this proclamation on board. I also thank all the other county commissioners so we can talk about the hunger situation and that appears and affects everyone, as you know. Thank you so much. Oh, sure. So whereas hunger and poverty are issues of great concern in Alberta County and the state of Texas, we're close to 4 million Texans struggle with hunger and food insecurity, including all of Alberta County. We're close to 18% of the population are considered food insecure by the USDA. And whereas the South Texas Food Bank, a member of the Feeding America and area nonprofit since 1989, has distributed over 20 million pounds of food in the fiscal year 2022 to 2023. Through its network of food pantries, shelters, and other community organizations throughout the service area, including here at Alberta County, as part of their fight against hunger. And whereas the citizens of Alberta County recognize that the right to food is a fundamental human right and are committed to taking steps to fight hunger in every part of the community by joining the South Texas Food Bank and Feeding America and its nationwide network of food banks and educating people about the role and importance of the food banks in addressing hunger by raising more awareness on this issue, and promoting equitable community participation in the creation, implementation, and evaluation of programs, laws, and policies in benefit of our food insecure neighbors. And whereas Feeding America and the South Texas Food Bank will host events such as this one throughout the month of September in an effort to continue to invite the public and civic leaders to join the movement to end hunger by taking action through efforts that include volunteering, donating, and advocating year-round to ensure that everyone in our community has access to the food they need to live fulfilling lives. Now, therefore, we, the Alberta County Commissioner Court, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2024, which I'm not sure I can proclaim that, as Hunger Action Month. And Alberta County encourage all citizens to join the fight against hunger in our community. Proclaim this 11th day of September 2024.
Got a motion?
Motion to approve, Judge.
Motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second Commissioner Wardlaw. What do you classify as hunger?
Hunger, in the pure extent of hunger classification, in my point, is the ability that you want something, but for whatever reason, you cannot get it. And it's one of the most horrible feelings, I should say, that a person can feel that way. And I, as a sorcerer, my job is quite particular because I have to go out and meet people who I've never met before to ask to get something for free. And after 45 minutes, if you're in budgets and money, it is difficult to get someone to give you anything for free. To give me something for free for someone else that they've never met. That is the most difficult problem in my position, if you will. Dealing mostly with businesses, retailers, donors, and overall people in general. And to describe hunger is a scratch that an itch that you cannot scratch, and an ability that you feel in a way undervalued, that you cannot take care of yourself in some ways. And that's why a lot of times we have people who do not want to come forward because they feel embarrassed or taxed, or in other words, they feel that they don't belong or they don't agree with our society, if you will. So overall, I define hunger that way. And every day it's a war, if you will. And every day it's a very difficult war, because even if I succeed that particular day, or the food bank or the commissioners, I should both say, succeed that day, the war starts the next day. It is never ending. It does not care who you are, does not care what you do or how you look or what car you drive. Because I've been in distributions and I've seen some very nice cars pick up food. We do not discriminate. We do not choose who can get food. Our job is to make sure that we have the ability to give out food to the people who may need it.
And see, and I have a hard time with that. I can't vote for this. There has to be some type of guidelines set forward. That way we're just not handing this out to whoever wants to show up because they feel like I deserve.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're raising a nation of people that feel they're entitled. Now, if you had guidelines and we were taking care of the elderly, if we were taking care of kids, if we were making sure that kids during the school year, that those kids are fed through the school system. But during the summer, if we were going to go help them, I wouldn't have a problem voting with this. But I have a hard time voting for something that we are raising a nation of people that are entitled. And there's no such thing as free. When you go ask a company to give you food, the rest of us that are sitting out here that have jobs and are struggling and everything else, we're paying for that shit.
Judge, if you don't mind
I'm talking, and then you'll get to talk. We just hand it out to whoever wants to show up with no guidelines. There has to be a better process than this. We put money in our budget that every year we do the same thing over and over again. I present a budget with a high tax rate. Matt asked me, and he adjusts the tax rate to where we don't get in trouble because we're not fixing roads, we're handing out food. So we adjust the tax rate so we can do that. But yet this court borrowed $1 million, which I think it was very noble of the court to borrow $1 million to set up a food distribution, and then we didn't. We divided it. I just have a hard time with it. Now, your organization, I'm sure you do great things. And 2 years ago, we used to have $18,000 budgeted. Commissioner Flores said we need to give more money. We stuck it in the budget. I think it's a good idea. I just don't agree with the way we hand out food. Commissioner Vasquez.
Yeah, Judge, one thing that we really stress out right now, a comment that you made, kids, Judge, school year, out of school year, elderly, I mean, that's the type of people that we're reaching out to, Judge. I just want you to know that.
No.
From the comments that you said, it didn't make sense to me, but that's our number one priority. I mean, elderly, poverty, that's the type of people we're trying to reach out to.
Maybe if we had a report, which we've never had, brought to the court, how many elderly and how many kids we're helping, maybe that would help.
Sure.
But I don't have that report.
Yeah, I can reach out back to the food bank. I do want to point out there's 8 different programs, and some of those programs are federal. So we do have some, for instance, we talk about the elderly, that's the CSFP. In other words, the government cheese. Those have a whole host of rules and things that we have to follow by the federal government. That food is bought by the federal government. We just are enshrining to deliver to the local population.
And when I was here as a commissioner in 2011, and we were commissioner for 2 terms, we didn't get as much food as we have now. Are we getting more food because we have a director now? I've asked that question before. And I've never been able to get the poundage, because if that's true, I'm not saying it is, then y'all not done a really good job, if that's the truth. So I'd like to know how much money we received in 2011 for 8 years after that, and how much money we receive now, since we have a director on the board.
Sure. I mean, more I'll talk to my CEO and talk about that.
Judge, if I may, back then, we used to split those trailer loads, remember?
Yes, sir.
We didn't get that much, but yeah, I mean, I think it's a great program. We need more control, more discipline, and sometimes, I mean, I know it's food donations from different companies, but a lot of it's already really outdated and it's bad food that we have to throw away. It's not good to give out to people, but I know it's hard to, get a good load every time that we get one. But, I think we need a little bit more discipline. Maybe down the road, everybody apply, see if they qualify.
Oh, sure, I mean.
Because right now it's open to whoever.
Certain programs, so the program.
And it's fine, I think to a certain point it is fine, but the lines are so long and we don't get enough food to give everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So the ones at the end of that line are upset. They were there for 3 or 4 hours and they didn't get nothing. And we have no control over that because, we only get a trailer load every 2 weeks and we appreciate the food and everything, but, it's the way it goes. But, I think it's a great program.
And like I stated before, there are certain programs that we do have to follow the rules, regulations from the federal government. And the program that you're talking about, where I don't want to say that it gives to everyone, because obviously we do have to follow certain rules, is the TFAP, which is the Emergency Food Assistance Program. So that program usually, those are the trailers you're speaking of, where we just come by with food and we ask the residents in Del Rio, or Valverde County, I should say, we'll welcome them to pick up the food and everything like that. So, but the other programs like CSFP, CSSFP, those are all federal or other mandated programs, which we do have rules and regulations for.
We're getting a trailer load every 2 weeks. And I don't know if every county is doing that or each precinct is getting one every 2 weeks. That's the other thing, that we need to be fair about the food distribution.
Sure, and Valverde is nice because they have the ability to come pick up. As you're aware, I cover 8 counties, so certain counties do not have the ability to pick up.
And we get involved. We participate with money to help the food bank, and we appreciate what the food bank does for us.
Oh, and like I said a little while ago, 2 years ago, we used to do 18,000. We've done 18,000 since, I don't know how far back. I know from 2011, we've done 18,000. Mm-hmm. And then Commissioner Flores asked if we could give another 20,000, and we gave another 20,000 in the budget. Yeah. But, Commissioner Nettleton, did you have something?
I'm all for helping people that need help. I would be curious to see how many of these people that drive through these lines actually get food stamps and other things that go, these other programs. There is no system in place that guarantees the people that need it are getting it. I'm like you, I see Cadillacs driving through there, I see $100,000 dualies driving through there, I see, it has to be a system where we're actually helping the people that need it, because there are people that need it, I don't disagree with that. But when you're handing out millions of pounds of food with no system in place, and then I see it posted on Facebook for sale, I have a lot of heartburn with it. And then I see people, the school district now feeds the children every day of the week, all summer long. I would be curious to see what the actual need is versus what we're actually doing with this. I am all for helping the people that need it, but I think this is out of control. I really, really do. I don't think it's the job of this court to feed the nation. I think it's the job of private. We used to do all this through Loaves and Fishes, private companies, Baptist, Catholic charities, those kind of things. I think those are the jobs that they have. That's just my opinion. When you can go to 3 different food distributions and pick up food, there's no system. There has to be a system for this. There has to be a way to guarantee that we're not just using it when you get $3,000 or $4,000 a month in food stamps, and then you pick up and sell another $1,500 worth of food on the side. That's not the intent of this program. The intent of this program is to help people that actually need help. And I don't see the system in place. I agree with the judge. I don't see the system in place that guarantees the people that need it get it. So
there is a system. The thing is that we don't have them apply to see if they qualify for the benefits. The line is open to whoever shows up, but we write down names, members in the family, and so we stay on top of that. but, I think we need to do a little bit better job of controlling that.
You made a statement a while ago, 20 million pounds for what period?
That was a fiscal year last year, 2021 to 2022.
And for what area?
All 8 counties.
All 8 counties.
Yes, sir.
And that's South Texas.
We cover Val Verde, which is Dover, all the way down to Stark County, which is Rio Grande City.
That's impressive. That's impressive.
What you need to mention is that there's cards with barcodes that we scan. There are people that already registered for that program.
Yes.
I mean, that's a system of how to keep track of the people that show up to the food distribution.
And we fully understand that there's situations arise and everything like that, and we do our best never to say no. And I understand that there's maybe some slippage here and there, and everything that you are telling me right now. I'll make sure I'll talk back to my CEO and the food bank in itself. But at the end of the day, we are here to help, and we do not pass judgment on people per se. And remember, anything that we do offer is for the residents of Del Rio and Val Verde County in general.
Is there any comments? Any other comments? We're good? I had a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? I vote no. Against? 3-2, motion passes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And I didn't mean to, if you felt like I was attacking you.
No, trust me. I've been on the end of those lines and those people who desperately, they yell at you a couple times.
I would not have voted and put it inside the county judge's budget when I was asked if I didn't believe that it was a worthwhile program. It's just, don't much care how it's being run.
Sure, if I just may say, the pantries behind me, they do most of the heavy lifting. They're the ones that actually give the food out to all the residents of Del Rio. And I want to just say thank them for all their assistance and make sure that they are aware that the pantries locally here in Del Rio do help a lot.
Well, again, thank you. Have a safe trip.
No problem.
Motion did pass. Item 24, discussion possible action to authorize Val Verde County Court at Law, DWI Drug Specialty Court to accept.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 25, discussion possible action to approve the purchase.
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 26, discussion possible action to approve the addition of a new AT&T SIM card for service.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 27, discussion possible action to discuss awarding a contract for bid 2428, enclosures of the maintenance shop bays located in Precinct 4. No?
Well,
You don't want to do?
no.
Okay.
I'll move the motion. I'll make a motion to reject all bids. 2 bids, they comply with bond and everything, but they were over budgeted.
Second.
So I'm gonna go ahead and, rebid it, go out and rebid this.
Motion was to reject the bids and go back out for rebid. Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 28, discussion possible action to discuss awarding the annual commodity contracts. 24-34 road materials bid 2436, oil, janitorial services, and authorize County Judge Melissa.
For road material, we'll do that one first.
Okay.
Vulcan material, was the lowest on an average.
Okay, we'll just take one at a time then, probably be easier.
Yes.
Who was the other bidder?
The other bidders were Martin Marietta. They were the second lowest. And then Colorado Materials, but they only bid on PB3 or 4.
I will make a motion. Can we accept all of them? Because sometimes certain material works better from
Right.
other areas.
Yes.
And that's what we've done.
I'll
what
make
we've
a
done in the
motion to
past.
accept, all 3 bidders.
Second.
And the commissioners can pick who they want.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries on road materials. We'll go to oil.
Yes. On the oil, we had,
We should only have 2 bidders.
We actually got 3. Alamo Asphalt, they were the lowest. Cleveland Asphalt Products and Ergon Asphalt.
We've used Ergon forever.
We've used Ergon, yes. Alamo Asphalt is who we awarded last year.
Motion to accept all 3.
Second.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Janitorial services.
Janitorial services, we did receive 4 bids. The lowest bidder was Rose Cleaning Services. She did provide, well, she did not provide one of her forms that was required with the bid packet, but the court has the authority to waive. It's the conflict of interest form. So you guys can waive that if y'all wanted to.
David, I'm just asking questions. I don't know, so I'm just gonna ask. Do we have the right to reject that one and go to the other one even though it's not low bidder? And there's gonna be several. That's 1. 2, is that sort of a deal breaker because she didn't turn in everything on the packet?
That's the report to the court. The court can waive it, but the court is not required to waive it. So if the court requires it and it's not submitted by the bidder, then the court can reject it on that basis.
Okay. It's up to y'all, whatever y'all want to do.
What's your recommendation, Judge?
Appreciate that. References, did we get references?
So Rose, do y'all want to know the bid amounts?
Well, we have them packaged. No?
Yes, you should have them in y'all's packets.
What's the difference?
The difference is around
Almost 20?
17,
18 or something like that?
16,
16?
about 16,000.
I'm sort of torn here because you want to save your money.
Yeah, definitely.
But we've gone from not real good service to good service now. I don't know. My opinion is she didn't turn everything in, but it's just my opinion. We could waive it.
So
I'm sort of happy.
Judge, according to Mr. David, if we waive it, we still following within the rules, guidelines?
If you waive it, we can hire her.
I'm gonna make a motion to waive that requirement and to go with Rosie's Cleaning.
I will make a second.
Okay. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries. Item 29, discussion possible action to award UniFirst with a 3-year contract for UniFirst services. Contract 2425.
Did nobody else bid that?
We had,
Or you just went through the Bible?
we just went through
Motion to
co-op.
approve.
Second. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 30, discussion possible action to award DS Water.
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second, Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 31, discussion possible action to approve.
Motion to approve, presented.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Flores, second, Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 32, discussion possible action to purchase network equipment upgrade for the Comstock Community Center.
Second.
Money,
Matt? Two matters. If you don't have money now, keep it, or we have money in elections. This is for the elections, isn't it? Or just?
yes, it is going to help with the elections. I don't know if we have money in there. If we don't, I think there's money also in, there's also money in, Roland's Emergency Management. There'll be some money in those funds also. And the reason that one is because we're gonna end up using it if we have something go wrong up there, we're.
Yeah.
Can you hit that one?
Like elections or?
Management. Yeah, either one of those.
Let's do emergency management.
Yeah.
Motion to approve our emergency management.
You're good. Motion Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 33, discussion possible action authorizing Constable, that one. Second. Is he here? I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. I'm gonna try it. Dionisio? How do you say it?
Dionisio.
What?
Dionisio.
Dionisio? Dionisio. All right. Thank you. I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Item 34, discussion possible action on Constable.
Second.
I have a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 35, discussion possible animal control call for service stats from January 24th. Yeah.
So, those,
Picked up a lot of goats.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. A lot of those came up with, the one case here recently.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
So, have any questions? Last meeting, he was asked to present something with us, for us also, so this is part of it also.
We're picking up a lot of horses too.
Yeah.
So yes, so some of those.
Coming out of the fairground?
No,
He made a motion.
no, so the majority of these horses are out of that same case.
That's fine, I'll just.
We had 3 horses killed this last weekend, Sheriff, and, one was on the railroad. And would those have been out of that same case?
No, probably not.
And my crew is the crew that, for some reason, picks them up. We need some kind of a memorandum of understanding with the city that in the city limits, and a fee. I don't know.
Well, there's fees in place, to be picked up. Those fees are already established and are in place.
Oh, good.
Yes, sir.
Well, I guess that, now that you bring that up, is there some way that maybe we can collect some of that? Maybe send the bill to somebody?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll check into it.
All right. I had a motion, Commissioner Vasquez, second Commissioner Nettleton, order accept, the stats and put that as part of the record. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 36, discussion possible on requesting the issuance of a county.
Second.
A motion, Commissioner Flores, second Commissioner Nettleton. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 37, discussion possible.
Second.
Commissioner Flores made a motion, second Commissioner Nettleton. And when we get to item 38, Juanita, if you want to come up and explain some of this. Item 38, discussion possible item approving the HR report from August 29, 2024 through September 11, 2024. And there was a couple of them that needed to be added. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. I had an amendment. I added K and L, Susan West, hiring Bruce Henderson, DPU investigator.
Can we do that, David? Since it wasn't on the agenda? We can't add them?
Especially since we had them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll go through item J as it was presented and is in your, original agenda.
All right.
Motion to approve as presented in the agenda. But unfortunately, I'm sorry.
No problem.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? We need to go back to the budget, but if y'all don't mind, take a little break and then about a 5-10 minute break, and then we'll come back and go to deal with the budget.
You're just trying to avoid the hell out of
Huh? Let me see. I hope. Okay, lights on. Here we go. Commissioners Court to take a little break. We're back in session. We had skipped an item. Item 14, budget workshop. Let's see what I got. I'm gonna wait. Well, there's a couple of, we'll do like two of mine, three of mine, and then we'll come back, go through the court, see what they have. We'll take care of yours here in a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Okay. One of the corrections under David Martinez, Cervantes, we had him as OLS. It's not OLS, it's SB 22.
What page is that, Judge?
It's on payroll. I'll get it for you right now. It's on, at the very back under payroll, it's page 138 of 166. If you look down at the bottom, it was just a classification error on my part, where it says A. Cervantes. That money is not coming out of OLS, crime victim, it's crime victim advocate, but it's not coming out of OLS. Again, it's under payroll, page 138. That will come out of, it'll be that thing instead of OLS, should say SB 22. Those funds, and you always ask the question, Commissioner, just before you ask it. Everything that says SB 22 or OLS, well, let's stick with SB 22. We have SB 22 funds. Those funds are, we apply, there's three different groups right now that have applied, and we've gotten, well, I know we've gotten our letter back. Did y'all get yours back? So I'm pretty sure Ms. West has too. We apply for SB 22 money, send in the form, and then they send us an email back that we received it or been denied. I think all of us, so far two, and I'm pretty sure she did too. So where it says SB 22, whether it be in the county attorney's office or district attorney's office, if those monies go away, then something else will have to happen with that position, okay? Because the funds are no longer there. When you look at SB 22 money in the sheriff's office, the same way, we ended up with raises in the fiscal year that we're in right now, and raises in the next fiscal year, 24-25. And we broke them down, and they say SB 22 money, to where that money's not commingled with everything, and then you got to go back and figure it out. This way, we already know what SB 22 money is. And the rules with the sheriff's office on the SB 22 money, and I'm probably talking too much, and I'm sure you'll tell me later. SB 22 money in the sheriff's office, if it's not used for salaries, we have an opportunity in the sheriff's office to be able to use for different equipment, and we've done that in the fiscal year that we're in right now. But right now, the change on county attorney is A. Cervantes. Instead of OLS, it should say SB 22.
I'll make a motion to change that to SB 22.
Okay. Have a motion, Commissioner Middleton. Second, Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries. In utilities, and y'all, I think a couple of y'all asked if there was going to be enough money in utilities with what we had put in there and what we presented. As we've gone through, this one will be in the general fund, page 24. Page 24, if you flip the tab, it says general fund. In there, there's going to be a couple of adjustments. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, that one we can go, I'm sorry, that one we can go mental health. There's one in here, some mental health. We have a budgeted item of $131,000. We'll kick it up. It says autopsy and mental health. We'll move it up just because what we've done here recently to move it up to 155.
Motion to adjust to 155.
Second. And motion Commissioner Middleton, second Commissioner Flores. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion, anybody against? Motion carries. We've been moving a lot of money to attorneys, we had 500, and then we put more money in it. And the way it looks right now, we're up to 850,000 we've spent. what I looked at right now so far, almost 700,000. So I think with the 850,000, we should be fine.
We should be, because we should, there were some capital matters
Mhm.
that did take a good chunk out of it.
So I would say we leave it, just because of what, Matt mentioned. And we're not up to the 850 yet. But I'm bringing that up right now, Commissioner, because you brought it up, that if it was gonna be enough money. And then, under utilities, let me get to it. And it will be under building maintenance. So, under building maintenance, in utilities, we had 900,000. We went to 1.1 million. And, I would suggest that we add another 100,000 and go from 900, not to the 1.1, but to the 1.2 million, just because we're adding more buildings. And that one is actually on page 22.
You wanna go to what?
To 1.2.
Motion to approve to move from 1.1 to 1.2. This is for every single building?
Everything.
Can some of these utilities, like the VA's office goes to get funding from other sources to help offset some of these utility costs? Y'all have funding?
In some of these specialty funds, most of those specialty funds, I know from prosecuting offices, we're very limited in what we can use them for.
I didn't know if utilities was part of that.
I know utilities is good.
And anything here on this block, county, I'm not just gonna bring up county attorneys, JP, stuff like that, everything here on this block, that y'all's building, I think has a meter on it, but the Fitzpatrick and the courthouse are metered together, and then this building is metered by itself. So anything that we would, and I'm just saying, the JP's, the tax assessor collector that is in this building over here, there'd be no way to separate that one, even if the funds were available.
You just separated by square foot. I didn't know if you could utilize those funds.
But 1.2, are y'all okay with that?
I'm fine with it. Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Motion.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, all those in favor? Aye, anybody against? Motion carries, mental health.
Judge, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
On the same page there on building repairs.
Mm-hmm.
We only have 140. I mean, what includes
what's in there?
Building repairs, yes. What can you repair? Or is there a limit as to how much you can spend to repair something?
Well, what we've usually done, what we've always done, is your water, sewer, electrical type of doors.
My minor,
Yes.
MacGyver work?
Something like that, yeah. Out of that, I can give you an example. We had a water leak on an AC that the pan overflowed in the county court at Law Court. It ruined it. We ended up having to paint it, and then we're having to go back like the ACs, stuff like that. If y'all have issues with your ACs, they can go out and fix that.
Is there any way to break this out, the difference between fairgrounds, parks, and building maintenance separately? If you split these budgets?
If you split them and do like what, Commissioner?
Have building maintenance stand alone?
In other words, go through and separate them in, or the personnel?
The expenditures, all of those things. And separate building maintenance into an individual department.
I can tell you that we looked at it a couple of times, and the reason that we didn't do it, because sometimes they don't, there's not enough work for them, and they're using everybody to go do something that they need to go do. We've talked about it in the past. It just, we could never figure out really how to go do it, because the amount of people that they have, sometimes they're using them all for one project.
Judge, is there anything in here for pavilion?
For what?
Fairground, a new pavilion? At the fairgrounds? A new pavilion?
Sir, we have,
under insurance money.
Yes, we have $1 million. You stopped me, I think it's 1 point something.
In insurance money.
So that will not be in this budget?
No, it is in
special revenue. Where we have special revenue, there ought to be a deal for, insurance. And in that insurance money is where we will end up with the money. I can't find it.
but it is in there, and it's under insurance money. What we talked about, with Carlos is coming up with a plan for a building that is probably 70 by 125 or 150 in order to present to y'all into the committee out of the treasury, in order to get a recommendation to bring it back. Those funds would come out of insurance money. Now, there's other things, we need to come up with a plan once we have that dollar amount, because, there's roofs that we still need to fix.
So it would just come out of that million?
Come out of that million.
Just
The
come out.
money's there.
It's not budgeted, it's just come out of it.
The revenue's there. And there's a line item, that's where Commissioner Middleton is. There's a line item to expend it. But it's just, an expense improvement line item, so.
Doesn't specify what. We're gonna spend it, and whatever the hell we decide to spend it on, whenever we wake up.
And this is what I said, this is for Commissioner.
You came out?
No, he's not there
It's
yet.
not dedicated money, so if you can't keep 3 votes, it could go something else.
We do have insurance money. We will, look at a pavilion. And then the other deal that was brought up was part of that insurance money was for the horse barn at the 4-H. And the conversation that Ms. Porter's had on that one was to not have as many stalls, but have fewer stalls, but better stalls.
Better, nice.
Okay, get it up out of the middle of the drain.
Fill that arroyo in.
Yes, so there's, anything that we do, even with the special funds, still has to come before the court. So, even if the way it's budgeted, the court still has.
Now they start on a special fund.
Well, I figured we should get there. You know.
Did you get an answer from all these departments?
What I did
Didn't
is-
bother submitting a budget?
Well, I think almost everybody's submitted a budget, but then the budget that they submitted, we went back. At the last commissioner's court, I said I'd send an email. I did not send an email. I actually went to every department head or elected official. And the budgets they submitted, even if we tweaked them and moved them around, with what we did within their budget, everybody that I talked to, and the only one that I did not talk to was Ms. West, but everybody else that has a special fund that I talked to was happy with what was in the budget that was presented to Commissioner's Court.
Sure they were.
David. So I will say that the JPs, the county attorney, the county clerk, county attorney, sheriff's office, district clerk, and the district attorney submitted budgets, and then we tweaked their budget, and we put it in the budget that we submitted on August 15th. I'm trying to be real careful here, but yes.
Yeah, well, you know we're still gonna have that discussion.
No, I get it.
Because it leads into my other question about special funds.
And real quick, just, and I don't know if you're gonna have the question, maybe I can answer some of this stuff before we get going. The technology fund, for the JPs, there's a deal for office supply, and there's travel, training, capital outlay. The one for office supply, EDOC, several years ago, Commissioner's Court voted and asked if we could take, case management out of there. It comes out of it. Okay? There's one other thing, on the sheriff's, DOJ forfeiture, is it DOJ? Right? DOJ forfeiture fund. We have capital, we had equipment, and I think there was $30,000 in there. He wants to create a line item, and it was in the budget that he presented, I just didn't do it. For capital, and move out of that $30,000, move $25,000 out, because they're gonna be in the process of moving some buildings and doing work at the buildings that are out of the
money from where?
Let me get to it. That way. You know what page it is, Chief? Or I just keep looking?
Under general fund?
No, it's under the special revenue. And it's the sheriff's, I think it's the DOJ forfeiture. Chief, you know what page it is at the bottom? Not really?
Judge, I doesn't have numbers at the bottom.
Okay. So you're not-
Forfeiture fund?
Yes, it was a DOJ forfeiture fund under the sheriff's office.
Let's go with 70 and 71.
71, that one I got. Under 71, on page 71, under special revenue, there's equipment, and it says equipment, $31,027. They would like to either, and you tell me, Matt, what they're wanting is, can they use about 25,000 under equipment to move buildings that the school has given them to locations to use for training, or do we need to create another line item in order for them to use that money that's under equipment?
No, generally what we try to do here is we're trying to keep these nice and clean with just 4 accounts.
So can they use the equipment line item to?
They would. Now, on these DOJ reports, when we go in there and we file the report, it expands way out. So there's not, but we'd like to keep this nice and clean in there. And then when we actually do file with the DOJ, we will break open that account and then we will file.
So there's no, in your accounting procedures, there's no need to create another line item, and they could use that 31,000. They're thinking probably up to $25,000, not only to move buildings, but also to fix the existing building that is out at the gun.
Yes, I don't have a problem with that, using that line item for that. Now, you said 35, so we're going to collect all
No,
those?
25.
25, okay.
Out of the 31.
Yeah, we should be good.
Right? That should work? And when we get to the veterans officer, we can talk about that. The other thing on here, we put in there raises even for the part-timers. Where's she at? Juanita. We gave raises for the part-timers, for the library, for everybody else. We ended up giving raises, a little bit, right? For different part-timers. But I was going through the budget, and the one that we did not give anything through, and I completely lost it, lost the name in there. We have a position as a part-timer, which is, in the sheriff's office, under Cami, Cadena, that is probably the only position that did not get some type of raise or bump, whether you be a part-timer or a full-timer. So, I would recommend that we do not the 1,500, but the 5%, just like we did for the other part-timers at the library and other positions that we have.
Make a motion to adjust that to a 5% for the part-timer. That's under.
It's under the sheriff's office. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Okay, Commissioner Nettleton.
It's my standard annual speech that we have on travel and training. This year, we managed to go up to $650,000 in all funds for travel and training. We used last year out of the budget of $585,000. How much, Matt?
I believe it was around 142,000.
142,000.
But the year's not over.
We only have 3 weeks. I mean, we literally have departments in here with over $200,000 worth of travel and training. I've got a heartburn with this for a long time.
Let's not write that down.
Okay.
You're writing that down, but there's a reason for that, and yes.
Well, the reason for that is
Right.
because instead of taking the money and putting it where we could use it for payroll, we just divide it equally the special funds equally and do that, we could move some of that money in those cases that do qualify for payroll and then take some of the burden off the general fund, in our 12 plus $14 million payroll budget. I think some of these are excessive. I understand what we're doing. I understand at the end of the year, they don't spend them and that money rolls back in and then we have a balance. I believe that the special funds need to be used before the general fund is used. The whole purpose of having these special funds is to use those office supplies and travel and training and all of that before the taxpayers are hit. I mean, we have $688,000 in office supplies in this budget and $650,000 worth of travel and training, which equates to a little over $1.3 million out of this budget. And a lot of this is in special funds, and as we've had conversations before, and I believe several years ago, this court made a motion and then took action that special funds were to be hit first. I don't see that happening. Then we spend the rest of the year with every single department moving money out of travel and training into something else they want because they become a slush fund. And if we're not going to use it and they're sitting there with special funds that they can use, then that money could be used to offset payroll. It could be used to, I honestly believe that we need to get our employees our base pay to a minimum of $30,000, which equates to about $15 an hour, a little over $15 an hour. We pay our part-timers at $15 an hour. We don't pay our employees at $15 an hour. We have still employees that are under the 30. Those are the people that struggle. I would really like to see us cut some of these and find a way to move these base pays on these people under 30,000 up to 30. I know that decision's up to the court. I really think that at least we should cut travel and training across the board by at least 8 to 10%. And reduce some of those amounts, and those areas where those special funds are able to use for payroll, move that office supply money into payroll and reduce the obligation to the general fund where it is allowable.
Matt, moving the base pay to 30,000, what would that do to the fiscal year, budget?
I did not run those calculations, but I will take the Commissioner Nelson's word that he probably has a very accurate number on that, and you said that number was?
I don't have the exact number of what it would take to use.
100,000. About 100,000. Okay, so it would take it up 100,000, and then just every year after that, plus the rest.
Okay. We have a work week that is 37 and a half hours, not 40 hours, right?
Correct.
So, first I'm going to give praise.
Not all departments.
Huh?
Not all departments.
Not all departments, but I can tell you the people that are under 30,000, the majority of them have a 37 and a half hour work week. Right? So, base pay right now, and I was at the office this morning and been looking it up. When we came in 2011, base pay was $16,580. And if this thing is passed, that base pay that was at $16,580 when we came in 2011, that base pay is now going to $28,782 and some odd cents. Okay, so not only this court, but all the other courts have done a really good job. And we've had this conversation, Commissioner. I think we should move everybody up and try to get everybody, more money. But to pick and say the people that are 30,000 or less, those are the ones we're going to move up to. So you're going to tell an individual, and again, not arguing, just fact. You're going to tell an individual that came in, has been here for less than a year because their base pay was at whatever. And a person that's been here for 5 or 6 years, and they're at 33,000, or 34,000. and you're gonna tell a person that's been here a year as a clerk one or below, the yard guy, that I'm gonna give you a $3,000 or $4,000 raise compared to everybody else that's been here. You know, and we're talking, and you correct me if I'm wrong, 40 some odd people, right? 41 people, 41 individuals, and you've been here less than a year, and I'm gonna give you a $3,000 or $4,000 raise. I don't think it's right, okay? And, you know, we hear the stories, you go around, you talk to people, and they say, well, I'm not making it. I get it. That's how come we're trying to give a longevity to help you with that. But we've gone from 16.8 to, if y'all pass what's in the budget, we're going to 28,782, that same position that was at 16,580. All right, in 2011. Now it's going to be 28,782. If we wait till 25-26, because in this year we moved everybody up 5%, did the base pay everybody up 5%, across the board. So if we wait till 25-26, the amount of people that will not be at the 30,000, it's less than 10. But we moved everybody up the same, and it's really difficult for me to say, you know, you're under 30, we're going to give you more money, but the people that have been here for a long time, I'm not going to give you the same amount of bump as everybody else. And you know, the conversation that I had with Commissioner Nettleton, he said, well, I'm not going to be here next year. Well, come back. Come back and make sure that we remember that we said that we would bump those people. Give me, you know, 24-25, we're going to do something. 25-26, we'll do something and hold our feet to the fire.
But you're saying you're going to bump base pays.
We've already done it.
Mm-hmm. So if you bump base pays even on some of these positions, it's going to, and you do the same 5% per year, you've got some employees in here, 26.5, which would be their new base pay. It's still going to take 2 or 3 years to get there.
There's a handful, and that's how come I said there's probably about 5 or 10 out of the 41 that next year, I'm not going to get them to 30.
No.
But I moved everybody up, so I don't think anybody would have heartburn in giving them another $300 versus another $1,500 because you moved everybody up. And that's just my opinion. Now, you know, we've had this conversation, and we've had the conversation with you too. I mean, you know, you want to do 50 or below, you know, people that are 50 or below. But we're given, we couldn't afford 1 year to give raises, but we did ARPA. We gave them a massive amount of money to individuals that had been here, almost like longevity pay, because you were here the months that, starting at a certain month when we were doing COVID, and then so many months that you worked here, and we used ARPA money, right? A one-time check, right? Which totaled to a lot more money than what they'd have gotten in raises. You know, I get it, it's not a raise, it's not a recurring expense, but if you take that out and push it out over some of the individuals, it's 4 years worth of raises, right? Depending on the months that you work. So, I get it. I get that y'all are wanting to give more money, and if y'all wanted to give it across the board, you know, it's like everything else. We're going to try to save a little bit over here and save a little bit over there, and then we're going to give it out. You know, the city gave out 10% raises last year. They didn't go up for a rate increase this year, and they're having a hard time balancing their budget. Right? And then you're going to come back and say, well, hell, you're balancing the budget. We're using the damn fund balance. And at what point do you run out of money?
Eventually you get there.
You know, Judge, I agree with you on the base pay to a certain point, but I think we need to do a better job of taking care of the people on the lower end.
And if you wanted,
you know, I mean, it's pay raises.
And what we've done in the past also, Commissioner, is that we stair-stepped a 5-4-3, I think. It was one of the, we've done that a couple of times since 2011. I think we've done it once since we've been here at this court, where we stair-stepped it. But everybody's struggling, you know, and that's how come I stuck with the 1,500 or a 5% this year. because everybody is struggling, you know, and then we came up with the longevity pay, you know. If you wanted to do more money in longevity or something like that, to where it's not a reoccurring expense, do that. I'm just throwing out examples here. Again, not wanting to argue, but if you wanted to, you know, we said do the 100, you know, let's do the 500 for the first year. But the people out of that longevity, the people that don't have a full year, they're not being compensated. Well, you know, take the damn thing up to 1,000 and give them 500. I don't care.
There's no perfect system. Somebody's always gonna fall within that. I had less than a year, I had this, I had that. I mean, that's just the reality of how things work. You know, I honestly believe we need to get to at least the minimum of 30. And if you figure that, if you have figured it at $15 an hour on the 37.5 hours, it's $29.90. It's a little under 30. And then you have your employees, which in my opinion are a complete disparity. You have a group of employees that do 40-hour weeks making what a group of employees that do 37.5-hour weeks. So when you look at the hourly rate, it's not even balanced. Mostly the 40-hour week are road and bridge, parks, people like that. And most of those are above 30, but not all of them. We have the same problem, which we just heard from the appraisal district, of finding and keeping people because we need, which is what we did in SO, and we still have a lot more work to do, to be able to retain these people. I'm not saying let's do it all in 1 year, but it has to get there so that we can get through that process of being able to keep the people on the bottom end that are actually doing the work in the fields and those kind of things that we need to retain. You know, when you're out looking for a heavy equipment operator and you're competing against $30-something an hour wages, it's hard to compete to hire the type of people that we need in the field. At least in our part, I'm sure it's the same in every single department. I'm not saying we do it all at once, but we have to figure out a way to get there. If that's the way we get there, we do a piece, bump the bottom, and then next year bump it again, then so be it. I mean, that decision's up to the court. But when I'm sitting here looking at $650,000 worth of travel and training, and I'm sitting here looking at employees that are making less than $30,000 a year, and I've had this argument for years. It's not personal. I think you've done a good job with the budget. I'm not complaining about the budget. I just, you know, I've had a heartburn with these numbers for a long time. This will be the last time you'll get to hear my speech on it, but if there's opportunities here to at least take some of this special fund travel and training where we're allowed to use some of it for payroll and at least fix some of those problems and relieve some of those burdens. But it's just my comment that I make every year. The decision's up to this court on what they want to do with that. I'm fine with it either way, but I think we have to get there, and the sooner the better.
And I think at some point, I don't think there's a government entity in the state of Texas that works 37.5 hours.
Well, we've had that argument many times.
So, you know, I really believe that if we went to 40 hours and then we can begin and you know, we're going to get the argument, well, yeah, I'm having to work more in order to get the money, but so's everybody else. I mean, you know, our crews are 40-hour weeks and everybody else is 37.5 hour weeks.
And I hate to interrupt that, Judge, and we'll bring it back, but the other issue that brings up.
But I'm going to.
But I'm going to. I'm going to lose my train of thought. The other issue it brings up are the grants. We're heavily funded grants. We get overtime on grants. But because we're 37.5, the county has to eat that 2.5. So the county's going to get a payroll liability on that just to access the grant funding. So I don't know if that's going to go into your train of thought, but you need to keep that in mind.
Matt, the community standard 8 to 5, Monday to Friday, it's 40 hours.
Okay.
Mostly all of our crews are 40 hours.
And all the crews are 8 to 5, Monday to Friday.
That is correct. Yes.
So,
on the commissioner's side, on the road and bridge side, in that. But the majority, if we count personnel, are more than likely 37.5. Is that correct? Probably. It's 10 personnel units.
Well, it don't sound right, you know, at the end of the day, I think, a good full day, full week is 40 hours. You don't go to HEB and work 37 and a half. If you're full-time, you work 40 hours. I mean, if you're a full-timer, go to Walmart, same thing. But anyhow, I mean, it's just conversation,
If you went to a 40-hour week, if you figured 1,950 hours or whatever.
2080.
What? 2080.
2080, but it's not accurate, but we will use 2080.
What I'm getting at is if you went to a 40-hour week and you took the $15,412 and $15,412,289 and did it by percentage, how much more money would it cost us compared to a 1950 to 2008?
You mean if you took the hourly rate and you gave them 2.5?
Because you're talking about adjusting the hourly rate from 37 and a half to 40 to go to a 40-hour week. So you're talking about bumping everybody that's 37 and a half up to 40. But the guys that are at 40,
oh, no, we're
they're
going
just
to
stuck.
No.
You know?
It's like you can't eat the elephant all at once. So we're going to eat pieces of it.
Well, I believe your words were, somebody's got to lose. No, I'm kidding.
Somebody does. At the end of the day, no, you're right. I mean, somebody does. At the end of the day, life is not always fair. If you're the guy working 40, it's not fair that everybody else is working 37 and a half. If you're the guy working 37, it's great. So, you know, we've had this discussion for as long as I've been on this court about moving the 37 and a half to 40. It never gets to 3 votes. So, I mean, I'm not arguing over the hours. I'm arguing over the 30,000 minimum. Whether it's 37 and a half, 40, I don't care. You know, that argument, that as far as I'm concerned, that ship sailed a long time ago. We've tried this numerous times.
and the problem is that
It cost us $1 million.
unfortunately, we can't have the best of both worlds, you know. It's one thing or it's the other.
Well, and I will tell y'all, if we can get to the 30,000, 25, 26, and that would get us there by moving everybody up, there's going to be about 10 people that you're going to have to give. I think the high number was $600 and some odd dollars more than whatever the raise would be. But you're talking about 10 people versus, and 41 people, which it's not a lot of money. But at the end of the day, you're moving everybody up together versus moving just this little group up. That's my speech.
I think that's a great idea, because you don't pick and choose. It's just, you set your base pay at 30.
And what we can do next year, we've got, no matter what happens, we still have 2 new commissioners coming in, whoever those are. I know you're coming.
One's there, one's transparent.
But either way, we've got 2 new commissioners coming in. And because we do have 2 new commissioners coming in, what we can do is go through the budget process where it's more the court up until August 15th versus the judge. Okay. And then we can have these discussions, and we would greatly appreciate it if maybe you showed up. Well, I mean, you know, the special revenue, we spent money with Bickerstaff, Heath, and Acosta, going through there and making faces.
No, you did, yes. You did.
And they gave us a long list of what we could and what we couldn't do. The special funds, Commissioner Nettleton is absolutely right, the amount of money, I would assume. I'm not looking at it, but I would assume that the amount of money that he said that we have in travel and training and office supplies, it is right, between special funds and what's in the general fund budget. The only good thing about that is that they don't use it all. And that's what I'm gonna hang my hat on.
No, I get that, but the problem that we have is that instead of hitting the general fund for travel and training, they should be hitting the special fund so that the general fund money stays in place. But that only works if this court quits approving budget transfers all year long and allowing them to move their general fund travel and training into something else so that they can do whatever the heck they want to with it. So you wind up with it being a slush fund is what it is. And the only way to stop it There's only two ways to stop it. The court quit approving them, or you just take it out of the damn budget. It's only two ways to make it work. We have in the past done a across-the-board cut. I made a motion several years ago that special funds were to be hit first and office supplies, travel, and training. Didn't actually work out. There are departments that some of these special funds can be used for payroll, which would relieve the $15 million burden off of the taxpayers on the general fund. It's not a lot of money, but it's still there. Not all funds are allowed to be used for payroll, but some of them are. There's no reason, the whole purpose of those funds is so that the taxpayers don't have to keep picking up the tab if the money's sitting there. But, I mean, that speech has been made for numerous years. It's up to this court. I'm not here to get in a fight about it. I have had heartburn with it through the 20-something years that I've sat on this court. At some point, it needs to stop. But that's all
And you hit the nail right on the head, Commissioner. Departments, and I'm not throwing rocks at the departments, but if they know that they bring a budget adjustment and it's going to be approved, then what's to stop them from bringing it? Right?
That's true. It is on the court to stop that. They could stop that. That would be the back end. The front end would be that to make sure that those requisitions go through the special funds. Now, if we can talk about those large numbers that we talked about, those were simply in 3 accounts. Right? The records management had a close to, if we combine both of them, 180,000. And the reason that was done is simply we can move it all out of there. But we know that the travel and training of the records management preservation, the records archive could only go to training for records management preservation, not all the elections and all the other trainings.
The records management archives also allows you to utilize some of it for payroll.
It does, and we'll touch on that in just.
Instead of putting $100,000 in travel and training, why in the heck don't we put $100,000 in payroll and reduce the general fund obligation by $100,000?
We can, if we are aware, which I just became aware of yesterday, that we do have people doing this full time. I was aware that we had people working overtime, doing exclusive records management, and their overtime is paid for.
And that they come to the court and got permission to do.
That could come to the court. Now, if we're saying that someone's full-time job is just records management, records archive, absolutely 100% that can come out of there and then free up general fund funds. If we're aware of it, and the court would make a motion for us.
So let's do this. He pulled out that account. And basically, we can approve this with the motion that we go back and look at those funds. And if we get an idea of if you have a person in your department that does record management and that's what they do, then we're able to use some of the record management fund for labor.
Correct.
And that would offset it. And then what we could do for next fiscal year is, so if we keep track of it between now and then, and how much money we saved, we can bring it to the court, right? We can, let me start all over. We can use record management funds for a person that is doing records management.
Exclusively, yes.
Yes, exclusively. Okay. So if we figure out who that person is, how many hours she's working, we can keep track of it. And then we can reimburse ourselves with record management funds, reimburse the general fund.
We could. It gets even better than that. There actually is a pay code for records management, so they just
So it's
their
possible.
time in. Yes. Okay. They just.
So that's just one of the many funds that are out there. There are other funds that are utilized, can be utilized for personnel. And I don't have the list of them off the top of my head. We have a list. We paid somebody to give us a list.
But it would be a small number, not a big number.
I don't know. I mean, you'd have to go through and look at all the special funds, look at what's allowable, and then figure out what it is. But even if it's $5,000 that could have been used for payroll that we put in travel and training, and we used it for payroll and reduced the obligation on the general fund by $5,000, it's still $5,000.
And to another one of your points, there is a large balance in all the special funds. We're going to come up with 1.7 or something like that. But that's because they are not used throughout the year. As far as annual revenue that comes in, it's more 200,000 to 300,000. So after you've done the work here, you can't really plan for that going forward because there's not going to be 200 to 300. I mean, heck, alone.
And that goes to the whole point of we're using the special funds to build up reserves instead of using the special funds to spend them. The whole purpose of that money is to spend it. It's not to sit there and add it, and you wind up with $500,000, $600,000, $800,000. I get you're only generating $100,000, but you apparently haven't spent it in a long time, so you have these huge funds that need to be spent.
Agreed, yeah.
And when we have those funds, and then they come back and say, I need capital for this or capital for this that would qualify under a special fund, and we spend it out of the general fund, why are we not spending it out of the special fund so they don't continue to build those reserves? The purpose of those funds is to offset the cost of the taxpayers. That's the whole purpose of the fund. So this court doesn't have to come in here and say, we're going to continue, we have to raise taxes because everybody needs this or everybody needs that, or we have to come in here and pull out $2 million of unrestricted reserve in order to buy capital that could, some, not all, could be used for certain things. That's the only point I'm trying to make. I understand the total revenue generated per year is probably not as high, and I can look in here and see what it is. I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's not a little amount of money. It adds up over time.
And this court, go ahead.
No, you.
This court, 600-700 in the DA's office, before this DA, that we brought in.
No, it was like 9 something.
9?
Yeah.
Well, there was 1 6 and there was another one, and we argued about the other one a lot longer. Okay, we'll stick with 9.
Okay.
And then, and I grant it, we're not doing as good a job as what we should, but we brought in, we'll stick with 900. And then we brought in money from your account, to help fund, John. And then before you were here, we took another 300 from the previous county attorney. And then we've taken $2,500 per year for the last 3 years, maybe 4 years, from the JPs. So even though we're probably not where we need to be, we'll just do a better job, but we have taken quite a bit of money from these agencies, from the departments. Can we do a better job? Of course.
Judge, don't misunderstand. I am not bashing your budget. I'm just saying there's ways that we can lower the burden to the general fund and to the taxpayers. I mean, we did spend a lot of money looking for what these funds could be used for, and it's my fault as much as it is anybody else's on this court that we haven't more got involved in pushing forward to make sure that we're doing it the right way. So it's just, when I look at these numbers, and y'all heard this speech for I don't know how many years, when I look at $650,000 worth of travel and training, it just, I have a lot, I mean, unless we're all going to Vegas next week, I mean, it looks like an awful lot of money.
My question is
That's not
this,
spending, though. That's
Matt,
covered, right?
is this fixable? Can we fix it today, or can we carry this conversation at a later meeting?
What would you like to fix?
Well,
You're not,
what he's talking
and
about.
I'll answer that.
Sure.
If you wanted to be here, today, tomorrow, the rest of the week, we could probably go item per item, and try to move some of this money.
And then come back the following year and just do budget adjustments.
But I do think that if we set up meetings in June and July of next year, we could have a better understanding of exactly which funds we can move what out of, right? Versus trying to go through it right now and not have a good understanding.
No, I totally agree with you. This is a 3 or 4 months process. The easiest thing to do now is just go across the board and say, we're going to cut travel and training across the board 5%, 10%, whatever the heck we're going to do.
Okay.
And, which we've done in the past. Out of the general fund, no, I'm not even going to ask you that question because you probably don't know the answer, so.
I got you. Right here. What do you got?
Yeah, as soon as he gets done.
What do we actually use out of the general fund obligation in travel and training versus what, because, And you sent me the report, and I don't guess I have it with me, of how much money we transferred out of travel and training into other things.
Was it around 30,000? I believe that was when we had that.
There's $200 and something thousand in travel and training in the general fund obligation, and 200 and something, and 300,000, something like that. 30,000 of that moved out. How much of that did we actually use out of all of that money that was still remaining? So if you take, and I've got it somewhere. $214,000 last year out of the general fund for travel and training. We moved 30,000 of that out to something else, office supplies, capital, whatever it was. Out of that remaining, how much did we actually spend?
Yeah, I'm not getting the numbers that you got this year. We'll have to look at what we're pulling on the data. But
I'm sorry. No.
okay, but they more than likely would not pull from travel and training to a budget adjustment unless it was immediately going to be used for something else.
They moved it in, most of them were moved to office supplies.
Right, and then they went and bought something.
Why now we
But
did that.
I think in listening to you, I think if going forward this year, travel and training comes in, if there's a special fund available, that needs to be hit. We send the requisition back that they need to use special revenue. This court, when budget adjustments come in front of this court to move out of travel and training, this court says no.
Well, that's the easiest way to handle it.
Okay, that would be. Now,
But 4 years ago, I made a motion, and this court approved it, that travel and training out of special funds had to be hit first. Didn't happen.
okay.
And that was a court order of this court. So unless somebody's gonna track it and make sure it's done, doesn't really matter if this court makes the order, because we've done it and nothing changed. The easiest way to do it is, yes, if the court's gonna enforce that it comes out of travel and training first, out of special funds, then that works great, and then you deny transfers out of travel and training into something else, then that works too.
So there's a court order right now, Mr. Bo?
Well, that was several years ago. I mean, that was for that year. There's not an existing one. It expired at the end of the physical year, but yeah, I mean, I made the motion that travel and training must come out of special funds first, and then the others. The problem is that we make motions and we make orders, and it's nobody's job to track it, so it's hard to see if we actually complied with the order, because we make so many. We make 20 a day, 20 of every 2 weeks, you know, so it makes it difficult. I'm not blaming you that it didn't get tracked. I'm not blaming the court. It's just, it's another job somebody has to keep up with, you know. So, yeah, the easiest way is that we hit those funds first, and then we don't allow the movement of money out of the general fund from travel and training into anything. And it sits there. And then it rolls back into the beginning cash balance, and then we make up some of the 2.4, 2.6 million that.
Yeah, we're gonna be closer to $3
million that we used out of,
fund balance.
Fund balance. Or you just do a straight across the board slash the whole damn thing and be done. I see these kind of dollars and I see the cost of road materials quadrupling, and our budget has gone up, but not at the rate that the cost of materials have gone up. And I sat down and figured out what my precinct would have to budget a year to actually maintain roads at the rate and the way the state does, which is seal coats every 7 years, overlays every 10 to 12 years. I would have to have in my budget at least $1.4 million a year in paving material with the amount of miles that I have to make that work. I have 300,000, and that has to include everything. You know, so we have to figure out how to cut in places so we can add in additional places.
I'm not laughing, I just locked myself out. Okay.
Oh, good, you can't answer any more
Right.
questions.
So, yeah, so we can take back up, there's two accounts alone that have $1 million.
No,
$1
I mean,
million. And that's the reason.
a lot of
that it
those
looks
have to
so
do with
bad.
2 or 3 accounts that make it look just beyond ridiculous.
Correct, it's those 2 or 3 accounts, and those 2 or 3 accounts.
And normally because we just divide it by 3 and say each one of them gets so much money.
We do, and the reason for that is because once it hits that account, then it flows over to the all funds page, and it shows up as an appropriation, right? And then that affects your fund balance. What you don't want to do is tell the public that you're not going to spend any of that money, that you're going to just drain, you're going to inflate fund balance, which would be a bad thing, when they would just come back to court to do a budget adjustment to spend it.
I understand.
So that's why it's appropriated. And in those accounts, it was just, hey, if you didn't turn in the budget, we hit something to alleviate the business process of departments coming to court, having new budget adjustment, this and that.
What happened was we didn't spend it last year, so we divided it by 3 again, and it increased.
That's
And
correct.
then the following year, we didn't spend it all, so it increased again, so the fund balance increased. So now all of a sudden, now we've got these damn things with $100,000 worth of stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of, had we hit that money for something we should have used and we paid out of the general fund, then we wouldn't have enormous fund balances.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically what happened.
Okay, so we're gonna appropriate the accounts at whatever they're appropriated. But even though they're appropriated, are they still coming back to court in order to use their special funds, even though they've already been appropriated?
I would say that by statute, they have to come back for the court.
But even if it's a budget in the budget.
By statute, and it's okay.
Okay.
If they come back to the court, we have an idea of what they're doing, and it's more transparent to the general public and to us too that they've used it.
There's 18 accounts on here that are under the control of Commissioners Court. There's a whole bunch of them that we don't really have a dog in this fight.
Yeah.
But there's 18 accounts that this court controls. Now, they can only be used at the county clerk or whichever department they're used at, but we control 18 of those. All the rest of them require a budget that this court can approve or deny.
Right, and so once you approve that budget,
then it's their money to do.
it's their money, but they're still coming back to court. That was the issue we were trying to touch on.
Yeah. But they always come back.
Well, not always, and then of course we've got the ones.
But these budget transfers have to stop.
The what?
The budget transfers have to stop. We literally years ago did 2 budget transfers a year. That was it.
Is that a motion? Yes,
In June, we cleaned up some stuff, and at the end of the year, we cleaned up the rest of it, and nobody else did budget transfers.
Yeah.
We do budget transfers at every single damn
The
meeting.
court has control of the budget authority. The court can say it's
And
going
that
to do budget
lies,
adjustments a year.
that lies on us. We need to do a better job.
So if you want
not
to say
doing it.
2 budget adjustments a year.
You know, there has to be a point that says, you got a budget, you need to manage it. You have 12 months in the year, it is what it is. I'm just giving my issues, Judge, I'm fine with the way it is. These are things that I've had heartburns with for years. I really, if y'all can get to the 30,000 for next fiscal year, that would be great. But we have to get there if we're gonna maintain the quality of the employees. It's no different than what the appraisal district, we spend a year or 2 training them to do their job, and somebody offers them twice what we're paying them, and they walk out the door, you know? I mean, we have the same issue that every single government is. We'll never compete with the federal level, I get that part. But when we have employees that have 3 jobs, trying to make a damn living, seems like we should do a little better job.
If I can ask the county clerk, Mr. Poya, how many are in that office doing exclusively records management, records archive?
You know, the thing is that,
Not to put you on the spot.
no, but the thing is that for years before I took over, things were not getting done in the system. So a lot of things are not indexed, they're not recorded, they're not taken care of. That is why I asked for the $5,000 from now till the end of this calendar year to get people to come in and work on those, to try to start getting it done.
But are they working on them their normal day,
Hours.
only after hours?
Yeah, because they've got something else to do all day.
So they're not dealing with records?
It's like records management has been pushed aside. That's what has happened. And that's why I have the backlog that I came into and I inherited. But the thing is, I know that in other counties, they take records management money and they put a position in there to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know for a fact that other counties do that.
Mm-hmm.
So if y'all want to give me another person, that'd be fine.
I don't think that was where he was
That's not where
going.
you were going.
Right.
But I have people who are making less than $30,000. And I know that they're struggling. I have people that I know have more than one job that they have to work in order to support the family. And that's my concern. I also have people that I lost when OLS came in and were offering $45,000 a year, and boom, they were gone. And I can't keep them.
Yeah.
That's my problem. And I know the judge and I have talked about it, about these people that are not making $30,000. And where you find the money, I don't know, but I don't use that much money in travel and training.
No, you don't, and that was budgeted on appropriation levels, so we can get the expenditure out there so that it would reflect in the total overall budget that maybe you didn't spend on travel training, maybe it was gonna be something else, or maybe it wasn't gonna be spent at all, but we needed to appropriate it and get it out there in case it was spent.
And the thing is, I've never moved money out of travel and training to go do something else.
Yeah, he was probably just talking in general.
No, in general, this court needs to do a better job, not approving. If you don't approve some of the adjustments that that people come in and do, you're trying to help the departments move forward because something happened and they don't need the money there, they need it over here. But, we can put a stop to that if that's what the court is willing to do. And if you do that once or twice, then you don't have that all the time. People just don't keep coming.
But then it just comes back to what's more important, that elected official doing their statutory duties.
Yeah, well, it's like everything else. You make a couple of them mad at the beginning, then you don't have the rest of them coming in.
Okay. So we're gonna do a play nice here, and even though it's budget and special revenue, it still has to come back. We'll be looking for that agenda item.
It's up to the clerk. My deal is, he just mentioned there's 17, 18 accounts that have to come to us.
Yeah.
Because there's 16 of them are ours, and there's a couple of them.
And some of those, like the log library.
Well, it doesn't have any money in it.
Well, it will. It'll eventually get there as we collect the fees.
It won't be negative.
Right, it won't be negative. But, we've got monthly subscriptions coming out of that because law books have moved online. So surely we're not going to come back every month to pay that.
And let's tackle one thing at a time. The 30,000, we can get there 25, 26.
Okay.
We can do that, 25, 26. What this court is going to have to also decide, the new court, is, do we want to go to 40-hour week? And that's not to get them to the 30,000, that's just, do we need to go to a 40-hour week? And at that point, if you go to a 40-hour week, you have several departments that are already at 40 hours. What are we going to do for them? Right? So, the 30,000 is one problem. The 40-hour week is another problem. We, in 2019, when we came in, worked with Juanita and this court to set up a different type of pay scale, not a pay scale, but classifications. And a bunch of people got $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 raise because they weren't classified right. So we can work on that also. And coming back 25, 26, we'll do the 30,000. We might not be able to do all the rest because you can't eat it all at one time, right? But if we reclassify some of these people depending on their classification and compare them like we did the last time to 4 counties, pick 4 counties that are our size, same tax rate, employees, budget size, and try to get counties that are the same versus just yanking counties out of the air and saying this is what we want to compare it to. And that's what we did in 2019 when we first came in. I think it's time we redo that again. Okay. The special funds, David, if you'll work with us, and then maybe we bring it back. We bring it back again, maybe November, just some of them that we know that we can move and start eating at that a little bit at a time. And if we go to do a budget adjustment at that time, we do it here in order to save the county the general fund money. But we start on that, bring some back in November, and then, before we get into the next fiscal year that we're having to decide what we're going to do 25, 26, we'll have a better idea of each budget, what we can and cannot do to it.
Okay.
Or them, or whatever. Ms. Chapoy, we have had conversations about the people under 30, but this court moved some people up, down, around, and everything. And I'm going to say this, I usually probably need to stop before I keep on, but I'm not. This is a good place to work, and we have, not a handful, maybe 2 people that have really been real vocal on not enough money. And one of them made me mad enough that I told them every building has several doors. And I'm saying that because this court, just as well as the court that I was first part of in 2011, we've done everything. We've done what we needed to do to base pays because it wasn't done before. But Judge Allen, when she came in, we sat with her. I mean, she did departments that we didn't have. And I remember, one department, and I think he's here, Commissioner Nettleton said it's going to cost us $500,000. That damn department's over $1 million now, right? But it was necessary. This court has moved on. We readjusted pay scales, or pays, and then every year we eat. This year, $160,000 more in insurance. What we paid. Every year, it's $130,000, $140,000 more. So this year, not only because the premium went up, but because we have more employees, it's $160,000 more.
And you're maintaining that deductible, and that deductible is worth a lot less now. So back in the day when you paid $250 after tax out of your pocket, it was a lot more than $250 now. But we
Those are all things this court's gonna have to look at.
as opposed to raising the deductible to reduce the insurance cost for everybody.
And we have more parks now than what we've ever had for the quality of life of our constituents. And that's costing us money, right? Every day. Not only to maintain, just cut the grass, but to buy electricity for them. Water, yeah. We spent, a couple $1 million out on Alcoa. And I'm saying Frontera Road, on the fields there. How much money have y'all spent on parks? And just to add to the quality of life, we go out and we ride around. Saturday, Sundays, his is full, right? He ain't got no place to park. We go out and with the kid at his, with the grandbaby, we've never had that. We go to yours, we've actually had birthday parties at his park that he doesn't know about. But it's full, right? How many people showed up for the Cardenas Park, right? For the Grand Dome, we never had that many people. So all that we're doing, and then it costs us money every day to maintain it. And these 2 people, it really frustrates me because we sit here and we're having discussions because we're trying to bring up labor and we're trying to make it fair because we have 288 employees. Trying to make it to where you're just not throwing rocks at one of them and the other. I just think, and I'm going to say it again, you need to be happy at the job that you're doing, and you need to be happy where you're at. And if you're not,
he's talking to you.
Well, he makes more money than all of us.
I ain't talking to him. Are you happy?
No, and then the other day, and I want to say something. I want to say it just to throw rocks at him. The other day, he says, "I've been here for 2 full weeks." 2 full weeks. But I will say,
reimbursable expenses.
and I'm gonna, I said my bad speech, but we have awesome department heads. When you look at the amount of money, and I get it, Commissioner, there's a lot of money out there, but there's a lot of money that they don't use. So we've been able to keep the same tax rate. We've been able to borrow over $20 million. We're set to where if the next court coming in wants to build a judicial center, because we have one note right now that we're paying almost 1.7 plus interest, right? So we have a tax note that we're paying right now. So if the next court would want to go build a judicial center, just throwing it out there, we have the payment, when that payment goes away, to go build a judicial center and still not raise the tax rate. Because I have the payment. Now, the interest is going to depend on what we're going to be able to go out for. But we've set ourselves, this court has put themselves in a position that anything's possible, I think. Right? We've talked about a judicial center. We can go build it in 4 or 5 years. I just really think that we've done a good job. Is there room for improvement? Of course. And I'll be the first one to admit that I fall behind sometimes, and sometimes just get tired and say I'm not going to do that. But I think we've done a good job. And there's people here, Melissa, Juanita, and they're not the only ones, but these are the ones that I deal with on a daily basis. Melissa, Juanita, Carlos, and yourself and y'all's departments. You look at our budget and what we're able to have in fund balance compared to the 40 days or 40 some odd days that we had when we first came in compared to what we have now. Not that we need to give back any money in the tax rate.
I wonder when you're going to get to the part where you give the taxpayer something.
Yeah, we gave them 2.6, but I think we've done a good job. And can we do better? Yes. Are we going to take care of the people under 30? Yes, but we're going to take care of everybody within the county and try to bring them up at the same rate.
You invoked my name, so every time I hear 25, 26, I think these people need to go to HED now, not wait a year from now to go to HED. I worry about them. And then when you talk about 40 hours a week, I have people that have other jobs. How do they do that?
And I'm going to answer that question, and people ain't going to like it. Not my problem. It's really difficult as a constituent. When I paid taxes all these years, that you come in and at 4 o'clock or 4:15, you come to file something and there's nothing, it's closed, but yet your office is open till 4:30. And you started this. So as a constituent, not as a judge, I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right that I have title companies calling me that what am I going to do? It's not my job. You have an elected official. You need to go talk to the elected official. Now, if you don't like whoever's there, don't vote for him. But I do think, I really and truly believe that we need to go to 40 hours. The only thing we do is service. That's the only thing we do. We provide service.
Judge, if I may,
Yes.
40-hour week is a productive week compared to 37-hour week. Any time of the day. I mean, I'm a big believer in that. Since I came in as commissioner, my crew was working from 6 to like 3 in the afternoon. And it was Monday to Thursday. I changed that from Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. 5-day week is more productive than a 4-day week. They're working Monday to Thursday. Now they're working 5 days of the week. It's a normal, regular week. 40 hours is a regular week.
And then you come in, and I get it. Everybody wants to celebrate a party, a shower, a wedding, and everything else, which is a good thing. But you close a whole department to celebrate a shower. A whole department is closed. So how does that work? As a citizen, how do you take that? If you want to have a shower for somebody and they're going to go up and have cake and everything, go do it. But don't close the whole department and close the doors and say closed. It just ain't right. Now, as an elected official, you go do whatever you want to go do. I'm just saying it's not right. And I will defend this court and defend what I've done in this budget, or justify what I've done. Everybody's going to want more money for their people. And you always got to pull from somewhere. There has to be funds available. With what we did a little while ago, adding money, adding there, with what I brought up a little while ago, we're gonna take more money out of the fund balance. You know, it's ain't gonna be 2.6. We're gonna be around the 3 million. And again, if people are not happy working here, Jesus Christ, go be happy. You know, go somewhere else and be happy. You know, you have every right, and you know, you have that opportunity to go be happy somewhere else. Take that opportunity. Every building has several doors. Pick a door. I get really frustrated when people say, well, we need more. Hell, we all need more money. You know, I'm here making $120,000 a year. I used to pay that shit in taxes. But I'm here. You know, what does it cost you to be here? Huh? Right?
More today.
Huh? It is, yeah, because it's taking longer. And we all deserve money. We all deserve more money. You know, Jesus Christ, me and you have talked. In order to survive when you're with your dad, y'all picked the public.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
In order to survive. We did whatever was necessary. My dad was probably the first health inspector. Didn't make enough money. Had another job. So we worked late every day, picking up copper, junking cars, hauling junk cars to Eagle Pass, whatever it was to survive. But we did it. You know? And if you're not happy, go. Find some place where you're happy. God bless you. We love you. Go find that place. You know? Hell, you came from very humble beginnings, right?
Sure did.
What's your asshole?
What's your value? No.
You know, commissioners, how hard is it to ranch? Huh?
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it don't matter how good y'all are. Y'all depend on weather and everything else. I could get off, and I'm not going to. It frustrates me when it's not enough. At what point isn't it not enough? And at that point, if it's not enough people, we love you. I hope you can find something that you're happy at. You know, it just is what it is. I'm sorry, we got off. But, Commissioner, do you want to do something? Okay.
So there's no motions. There's no motions.
Just wait before we leave in case we have another question.
Okay.
Is there anybody else out there that wants to elected official or department head that wants to talk about the budget? Because I've got one more deal. Okay.
Yes, sir. Page 39. My operating expenses have been cut to $100,000.
Yes, sir.
$800.
Yes, sir.
This year it was $226,000. I've spent all but $13,000.
And how much more money do you want before we get into that conversation?
Well, I've spent all but $13,000 of that.
Okay, so you'd say go back to the 226?
Well,
that's
that's open for discussion, Judge.
Okay. And I'm going to throw out some numbers right here. You have, in the budget that you were in before, you had over $7,700 per mile of road. In the budget that I presented today, you have $4,197.20 for every mile of road. Commissioner Vasquez pretty much stayed the same, $3,599.61 for every mile of road. Commissioner Precinct 3, it has the most amount of roads, but the least amount of money per mile of road, which is $2,950. And Precinct 4 has $3,314.95. So you are, and it don't matter to me. If they want to give y'all more money, you know, it's more money. But you have 30.02 miles of road, and you have $4,197 in this budget per mile of road, which is $600 per mile of road more than the next closest person to you, which is Commissioner Vasquez. And you look at the employees, let me find that. I think you have six employees. So you have, for every employee, you have 5 miles of road. And then, can't find another paper. Here it is. So for every employee that you have 5 miles of road per employee. Commissioner Vasquez has 11.59 miles of road, and Commissioner Precinct 3 has 17.32 miles of road per employee, and that's even with the extra employee that is in this budget. And then Commissioner Flores has 15. So, again, it's up to you. You throw out a number, get a motion, get a second. I just can't see how we are a road and bridge crew, and you have more money still per mile of road that you have. And you have more employees that take care of less miles of road. And we'll pick Commissioner Vasquez here. With the amount of employees that he has, he does double the amount of miles of county road that you do with the employees that he has. And Commissioner, again, not wanting to fight, but it's as simple as making a motion. If you get a second, you take a vote and you move on. But that is why I put that in the budget, and the way I put it in, is just, I tried to base it close to the amount of miles of road that an individual has within his precinct.
Commissioner Warlaw.
Yes.
$100,000 wouldn't make it for you to survive, or your precinct, with the amount that you have, and fuel, asphalt, and whatever else you spend the money on, truck maintenance, and you need more money?
I need more money.
Judge, I mean,
No, it's as simple as a motion and a second.
yes, sir. Well, I was gonna make a recommendation. I mean, if you know, the court is good with it, I don't mind giving them $20,000 out of my operating. I don't know if the other commissioners are
I
willing
would be
to do
willing
that.
to do that.
I mean, you know, to bump them up, you know, $60,000. You know, that way we don't have to move any other money around or anything like that.
And I'm gonna, don't do that. Y'all are gonna need every bit that y'all
It's a
have.
recommendation, Judge, you know.
Let's do this. If y'all are wanting to give him more money, y'all give him more money. And I glad that y'all are willing to take money out of y'all's budget. But at the end of the day, y'all are gonna need it. You know, y'all are gonna need it. If you're talking about 60,000 to his deal, that would bring him up to 180 and change, 185, 186, 186,000. I personally, let's do this. Or you don't want to give him 60,000?
I don't want to take somebody else's money, Judge. I do not want it.
50, Judge, that was what I was gonna recommend to the court.
Yeah. I mean,
So, let's do this. I need a motion to bump precinct 1, road and bridge budget up by $50,000.
I'll make a motion to bump up, Road and Bridge Precinct 1, $50,000, and, the money to get from where it goes.
When we get done with all this, the only place to get money from is going to be the fund balance. It is what it is.
Yes, correct.
And what we'll do, let's do this. Have a motion.
I'll have a
Have
second.
a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
And
Against?
you-
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so it's 3-2, motion passes. And with that being said, bottom line is you're just gonna adjust the front page, of our road and bridge to where it reflects another 50,000. You're gonna do it, you're gonna add another 50,000 to the expense, and in revenue, you're gonna add another 50,000 to transfer out of the general fund, right?
Operating or paving?
I would say operating, and the reason operating is when I went back and looked at what he spent in paving, if you average out his years, the 25,000 that is in paving, then you got more than enough money. Commissioner Wardlaw, you got anything else?
No, sir.
Commissioner Vasquez?
No.
Thank, just like to say thank y'all to the whole court.
You're welcome. Commissioner? Commissioner? Y'all got anything else out there? I got one more item on the agenda. So, before we take a vote on that one, Is there anybody else? Are we good? We good so far? And I know you're not good, you want more money, I get it. But, everything okay? Okay, I'm gonna go one more item.
Judge, while we're still on there, the agenda item to cut 8 to 10% general fund road and bridge did not happen. Bringing budgets after they've already been appropriated to allow spending.
None of that was taken a vote on, I didn't have a motion. You okay with that? You wanna do something? It's up to you.
I guess the motion I would make is that, there's no point in making the motion because it's not gonna be valid.
Say it, Mr. Bo, what are you thinking?
This court can undo it anytime they want to undo it.
That's true.
I mean, all budget adjustments need to cease, except for twice a year, and that's it. But the motion has no value to it because this court can undo it at any time.
And what we can do, is.
As far as cutting the travel and training across the board, it won't make sure that, the problem with cutting travel and training is there are some departments that don't have special funds.
Correct.
And they have no other place to go get revenue for their travel and training.
Correct.
So when you do an across the board cut, like all of us, we don't have a special fund to go get. There's other departments, parks, fire department has a little bit of extra money, not much. If you do it across the board, you're gonna hit people that don't have the opportunity. So I think the best thing to do is, I'll make a motion that all travel and training must come out of special funds if it is allowable before the general fund is hit.
I will second that, Mr. Bo.
I've got a question on that. Travel and training, this goes for all departments or?
All departments. If you have a special fund, it must be hit first.
Which the precincts don't have one.
You don't know, it's not gonna affect. In your case, it's not gonna affect.
Okay.
If you have a special fund and the travel and training is allowed, it must come out of there before it comes out of the general fund.
Your personal travel training.
Yeah, special, whatever, if you're sending an employee to a training or whatever it is. That's my motion.
I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion passes 5-0. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Thank you.
I put in this budget, new hire for yours. And then, with title of office manager, which came with a salary. So I'm gonna put it in the form of a motion that precinct 4, you don't have an individual there, they're not being promoted, they're not there. And it was a clerk 1, move it to, office manager, just like all three secretaries, the same title, with whatever base pay that is set at.
Second. What is the base?
35,616.19.
I'll second that.
Oh, he already did?
Oh, okay.
Who made you want to third it? Who made? I made the motion. You did. Okay. So have a motion by myself, second by Commissioner Nettleton. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there anybody else? And then we'll do the rest of this, and then we'll go into executive session. Item 15. With everything that's been presented, I need a budget adjustment or budget adoption. I need a motion in a second, and then roll call vote.
Make a motion to adopt the budget as presented with the changes that were made.
Second that.
Have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, Commissioner Flores. Do you have a question?
Nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Wardlaw, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Nettleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Flores?
Yes.
And myself, it's a 5-0 vote, nobody against. I want to thank y'all. Tax rate adoption.
Do we have a word for that?
It needs to be from there to there.
Oh,
It's longer.
crap.
Yeah.
They make it longer every year.
Item 16, tax rate adoption.
I'll make a motion to adopt the tax rate. This year's proposed tax rate exceeds the no new revenue tax rate. To vote on this ordinance, resolution or ordinance setting the new tax rate. No, it's not that. It's
Huh? Okay.
This tax rate will raise more taxes for maintenance and operation than last year's tax rate. The tax rate will effectively raise by 4.06% and will raise in taxes for maintenance and operation on a home of $100,000. I don't know what the number is. 60 cents. That's my motion.
Okay. I have a second.
Second.
And it's really confusing.
No, it is.
But that's what's what you just stated is part of the statute. Yeah, so it's really confusing because the tax rate stays the same. We're raising more money. We did, within the 0.4977, we did adjust the rates for general fund, road and bridge, and debt service. But we're reading part of what the statute said that we needed to read. Okay. I have a motion, and who gave me a second?
I did.
I have a motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez, roll call vote again. Commissioner Wardlaw, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Vasquez?
Yes.
Commissioner Nettleton?
Yes.
Commissioner Flores?
Yes.
And myself. Anybody against? It's a 5-0 vote. If y'all don't mind, we're gonna take a little break. We'll go into executive session. Which one? Number who?
Number 39.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need to go to the restroom.
And do it quick.
Chihuahua David. Discussion and possible action authorizing David E. Martinez to accept 2024-2025 road prosecutor grant in the amount of $175.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Vasquez. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. Item 40, closed session consultation pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, parenthesis 2, attorney-client privilege, 551.071, parenthesis 1, parenthesis A, contemplated litigation, C 551.072 regarding the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property, and possible action open session thereafter, D 551.073 regarding the negotiating contract, lease, or value of real property, and possible action open session thereafter, E 551.076 regarding security devices, security audits, and/or security personnel. Take a little break, and if y'all will give us the room, we'll come into executive session. Thank you. What? There it is. We're in executive session, no action was taken, it is 12:41. We had tabled one item, discussion possible action on hiring a county veterans officer and set salary. The position that we had posted was a salary, I think, of 43. We actually have in the budget that we could go as high as 50,000, 168.51 if necessary. That would be something the court would have to decide today if we're going to make the decision.
Judge, I will make a motion to hire Mr. Trevino as our veterans officer, and that it is a full-time job. It's a Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, at $50,000 a year.
Second. Okay. 50,000, 168.51?
Yes, sir.
All right. I have a motion. Let me write it over here. Yes, sir. I have a motion, Commissioner Flores. Second, Commissioner Wardlaw. Commissioner Vasquez, yes, sir.
And Mr. Trevino, and just a question for you, what is it, it's a full-time job, am I right? Okay.
Yes.
Right. State that for the record.
And, you know, I think all of us, I know all of us interviewed both candidates. We had two candidates. Both of them were really strong candidates. Either one of them, I think, would do a wonderful job. But at the end of the day, we have a motion to set the salary at the 50,000, 168.51. Got that, Juanita? Yes. I have a motion, Commissioner Flores. Second, Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0. If you will get with, I know that I probably skipped it. You need to start as soon as possible, especially Mr. Vitela's last day is the end of the month. Okay. So if you could, whittle out some time to get down there now.
Yes, sir.
And get with Juanita first, get that process done. And then, go visit with Mr. Vitella.
Okay.
All right.
I've done it, but I'll do it again. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that we'd like to get you started before October 1st to be able to spend some time with Mr. Vitella.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you to the court.
That work?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And congratulations. Welcome to the family.
Congratulations.
Condolences. Commissioners' comments, item 41? None. Judges' comment? Go ahead.
Well,
No, go ahead.
I got a question more than a comment.
Oh, my God.
When are we gonna set the meeting hours?
The meeting, it has to be done according to Commissioner Nettleton and the statute. We can set the meeting at the last regular meeting of our fiscal year, which it'll be on the agenda on the 25th.
That'll work.
Okay. County judges' comments, you know, and I say it every meeting, it's really a pleasure working with y'all. I will say that there is a lot more that we can get done. But again, I want to thank y'all. Item 43.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion, Commissioner Nettleton, second Commissioner Wardlaw. All those in favor? Aye. Anybody against? Motion carries 5-0.